That's right, I'm doing 2 grass touching videos in a row. Welcome back to this really stupid series where I time how long it took cartoon characters to touch grass. Today I'll be taking a look at Gravity Falls. Once again, let's go over the rules. The timer begins as soon as the character appears on screen, and the timer ends as soon as we can confirm that the character is touching grass. If a character is shown to have been touching grass in a previous shot, the previous shot is where the timer ends. You can also use observations of the environment from different angles to determine whether a character was touching grass or not if it is not made clear directly. The timer will pause if the character leaves the current scene, the scene shifts focus off that character, or the show cuts to a new scene where that character is not present, and it will not resume until the character is seen on screen again. Even if a scene isn't focusing on a character, the timer will still run if they can be visually seen within the shot. Any part of a character's body touching grass counts. This includes touching grass through their clothes, such as their shoes. Photos do not add to the time, and neither does the theme song or dream/fantasy sequences. Just like my dead end video, a character being in the scene is more so to do with their soul than their body, since there is a little bit of possession here with Bill. Speaking of which, let's introduce today's grass-touching contestants. We have Dipper, Mabel, Stan, Soos, Wendy, Ford, Pacifica, Gideon, Grenda, Candy, Old Man McGucket, and Bill Cipher. Alright, let's touch some grass. The first 3 letters of Gravity Falls are G-R-A, and you know what else begins with those letters? Grass. So get ready for some pretty sweet times. After the cold open, we get to see how Dipper and Mabel ended up in this grassy paradise. And oh damn, that was a lot faster than I expected. Dipper gets a time of just 1 minute and 4 seconds. You already saw her touching grass in Dipper's clips. Mabel touches grass even faster, due to her not getting her time repeated after the theme song, since unlike Dipper, she's not the one narrating, and this cuts her down to just 54 seconds.
Yay! Grass!
Stan does even better than both Dipper and Mabel, standing on grass from the moment he is first seen on screen. Very unexpected from him, but I'll take it. Oh, but the rapid fast grass touching doesn't end there. After a few very brief appearances, Soos tells Dipper the tale of him touching grass, which locks in his time at just 37 seconds. Holy shit. These times are actually going insane. You're never gonna believe this, but Wendy is also a master grass toucher. She's only touching it a tiny smidge, but she still touched grass in 7 seconds. Wendy's speedy grass touching also means that Tourist Trapped is now tied with Untitled from the Amazing Digital Circus for the episode that I've covered in this series with the most instances of characters first touching grass. And then all that momentum is lost. Ford has 2 very brief appearances in season 1, and Gideon Rises teases me by showing Gideon imagining him touching grass. Even though this is an event that happened, because this is Gideon's imagination and not an actual flashback, it doesn't count. He makes his proper debut at the end of Not What He Seems, and while he did get a much higher time than the previously discussed characters, he still got a pretty alright grass touching time. Upon arriving in Gravity Falls, we see him standing outside what would one day become the Mystery Shack, and he's standing on grass in 11 minutes and 26 seconds. I was honestly expecting Pacifica to do really badly, but to my surprise that wasn't the case. Double Dipper is set almost entirely inside, so there's no real opportunities to touch grass. Irrational Treasure may be the opposite, being set entirely outside, but she doesn't touch any grass in this either. Next, it's the Time Traveler's Pig. She gets extremely close. Come on! She's like a millimeter off. But that wouldn't even really matter because the end of this episode deletes that event from the timeline. So next, it's the Time Traveler's Pig. She walks across the screen here, and while there are small patches of grass on the ground here, we don't see her touch it. I spent way too much time trying to figure out if she did touch grass here, but it seems she did walk over it. The rest of season 1 only gave her small background cameos, but in season 2, episode 3, The Gulf War, she can clearly be seen touching both fake grass and real grass. Pacifica Northwest gets a final time of 6 minutes and 42 seconds. After Pacifica greatly exceeded my expectations, I thought maybe Gideon will touch grass faster than I originally thought. And he kinda did, I guess, but that doesn't mean he touched grass fast. He comes extremely close a few times. First in the hand that rocks the Mabel with these incredibly tiny blades of grass under his tent that his foot just barely misses. And then again in Little Dipper, his failure to get Stan to hand over the deed to the mystery shack results in him being chased down by the cursed Egyptian super grass touching termites, who attempt to get him to run onto the grass, but he's a stubborn little prick. He once again just barely misses, but later in the same episode we get... Did you see it? It's only on screen for a single frame, but if we pay close attention to how the pathway to the Gleeful house is laid out, I can confirm that despite his attempt to hide it, Gideon touched grass in 16 minutes and 32 seconds. Like I said for Pacifica, Double Dipper is a fully grassless episode, so there's really not much to say about it. Grenda's next appearance in Summerween is mostly set outside though, so despite a little speed bump at the beginning with all the kids inside and being spooked by the Summerween trickster, everyone goes outside and wha-bam! 4 minutes 30 seconds. Honestly, I probably could have talked about Candy and Grenda in the same segment, because there's barely any difference when it comes to their grass touching. Grenda gets a few shots without Candy, and they both touch grass at the exact same time, so Candy's grass touching is just a little bit lower at 4 minutes and 21 seconds. Poor Fiddleford McGucket may have lost his mind, but his constant use of that memory gun didn't ruin his grass touching skills. I was a bit conflicted on whether I should count any time the Gobblewonker was on screen to his time, since he was the one controlling it, but I decided against it since he still wasn't really part of the scene until the reveal. Unlike, say, Gangle driving the truck in The Amazing Digital Circus, who we see get into the truck and we're constantly cutting back to her. But moving on from that, yeah, not much to say. Pretty quickly, he can be seen, very obviously, standing on grass after 1 minute and 35 seconds. Bill is a cheating bastard. He saw my grass touching video on OKKO, saw that it didn't count seeing TKO inside KO's mind to TKO's time, and realized he could greatly take advantage of my no dream / fantasies rule. His timer does run when Gideon summons him, but because I need to stay consistent, it does not run at all while inside Stan's mind. And the same thing goes for Sock Opera. At first. But once he takes over Dipper's body, there's no escape, Bill. Your time is back on. This episode would be the biggest contributor to his grass touching time. Ford's dream in the last Mabelcorn, of course, also doesn't count, but the next time we see Bill for real, he's possessing Blendin's body and standing on grass, ending on a time of 5 minutes and 39 seconds. Oh boy, that was incredible. I'm pretty sure Gravity Falls now holds the record in this series for the best average grass touching time. And excluding characters who never touched grass, Gideon has the fastest time out of all the other last place characters. Oh man, I know I say this at the end of like every video now, but this leaderboard is getting really big. As for the next video in this series, I think it may actually be the first sequel of this series. I'm thinking I might take another look at Steven Universe and go over the grass touching capabilities of all the various residents of Beach City. But that's all I got for today, so like and subscribe to make me smile, and I will see you later.